Hi, I'm Eric Summerer, and here's what's coming from the Dice Tower this week.
Hey folks, Happy New Year. We are getting ready for a big celebration here at the Vasel household, but I want to check in, of course, with the news for this week, which will include part of 2013. 2012 is over. There's a lot of great things that happened in 2012, and I'll be talking a bit about that more in next week. In fact, let me tell you, what we're going to be doing is a couple things. First of all, next week, one of the things you can look forward to a week from tomorrow, January 8th, we're going to end tomorrow, January 1st, I'm releasing a two-part podcast on our show. If you've never listened to the audio version of our show, you should. There's a lot of great things on it, but this one's really good. Tomorrow we'll release the first part of the best and the worst of 2012, where we'll talk about all sorts of things, the best kids games, the best party games, the worst games, our biggest disappointment, the biggest surprise, and then, of course, the top 10 games. And so I'm joined by a host of people, and we'll be talking about that. So the first episode goes up tomorrow, January 1st, and then the second part will go up January 8th, because there's just so much in this episode. It's really exciting. And then on January 8th, simultaneously, I'll be releasing a video of my top 10, and so will Ryan Metzler. So lots of end of the year stuff, and I'm telling you, this has just been a really great year for games. And so as we look forward to that, let's talk about a little bit of news that's been out. In the news category, Minion Games just put up a new game on Kickstarter called Hegemonic, which is another 4X space game. Explore, exterminate, extinguish. I forget what I never can remember what the X's are, but basically a civilization-style building game. So that's very exciting, and we're looking forward to that. And let's see, Chaosal, which is a game it's this mega giant castle, roll, move, fight monsters type of game. Really hasn't got the greatest of reviews, but it's notable because it comes in a gigantic box. But anyhow, I just thought it would kind of die out like most of these games. But hey, lo and behold, it has an expansion coming in January. And in case you missed it, one of the biggest releases of the year just came out this week, and that's the Star Wars card game. And even at my local gaming store, saw lots of people playing that and excited about that. Our news of the week is something I thought was interesting. Counter Magazine, you might not have heard of it, has been published for 15 years, and it's been a small, not pictures, just kind of text magazine that Stuart Daggett and Alan Howe published and produced. Well, now there's a new editor of that, Greg Schlosser, who, if you've not heard of him, he was the king of board game reviews for quite a while. So he's taking over this and has a host of writers, and they're trying to not only have this magazine be in print, but also have an online version of it. So you might be interested in that. I'm curious to see if a print magazine will do well at this point in time. So let's just wait and see. But that's coming soon. You can find more information about that at their website. That's a good segue into our next phase, where we talk about the podcast in our board gaming network, the Dice Tower network, and On Board Games, actually in their latest episode, interview Greg Schlosser and talk to him about Counter Magazine. Let's see what else we got here. We have Plaid Hat Games. They're talking in episode number 74. They interview two people, rules editor Nate Rethorn, which I think every company should be hiring a rules editor, and then rules teacher Rodney Smith, where Watch It Played podcast. You might have watched those, and if you haven't, you should. It's a great show. Not Just Another Gaming Podcast came out with episode number 24, where they have Holly Zombie Christmas. Essentially, they talk about horror board games and horror movies, because there is a small subset of people who think Christmas is a horrible time. Good for them. Gameopolis, episode number 23. They talk about space, and they pick two games I think that are total opposite. Star Flux, which is on the very light side, and then Battle Stations, which is one of the heavier space games out there. Flip the Table, I didn't mention this last week because we were too busy saying Merry Christmas, but they did release number 18 of their show, where they talk about the worst of the worst. They have kind of like a trash game show where they talk, because all they do is play garbage games that most people won't. And let's see, the Long View releases podcasts, and unlike me, where we look back at 2012, because he's always looking back the long view, he'll be taking a look at the year 2011 and the games that came out there. And so those are the different shows that are coming out. I only got 10 reviews done last week because it was Christmas, and so and there's another holiday this week, New Year's, so I'm not sure which games I will get reviewed. I'll try to get as many of these done. So I'll show you the possibilities. We have Wild Fun West, which is a kind of fun party-style game. We have Wrong Chemistry, which is about building molecules. Zoneplex, which, honestly, I'm not sure what that's about. It's about, getting to the top of a pyramid. Then we have Catan Histories, Merchants of Europe, which is like if you mix Settlers of Catan with a pickup and delivery game. Temple Run, the board game. Angry Birds Star Wars, the board game. And Angry Birds Space, the board game. We have this dice with these heavy metal dice. Not rock music. Iron from Iron Die, basically. And then Infernal Contraption, about goblins building things. I have the You've Been Sentenced Country Music Edition, and also 2 expansions where we have NASA Space Terminology and Brainbusters, which includes words no one uses ever. Then Panic on Wall Street, which is the reprint of Masters of Commerce. Chicken Caesar, which is about chickens killing each other. Notice the splatter of blood there. The Minigame Library, which actually has 6 games inside it. Master Plan, Blaze of Legend, Infinity Dungeon, Pixel Tactics, Noir, and Grimoire Shuffle. Then the new, absolutely beautiful production of River Dragons from Asmodee. The newest expansion for Thunderstone Advance, Root of Corruption. Richard Breese's Keyflower. The second game in the Tempest series, Mercante. Supposedly building game called Urbanization. The 2 new expansions for Dungeon Command, both the Curse of the Undead and the Tyranny of Goblins. And then 2019, The Arctic. So you'll see some of those reviews this week. I'm just not sure which ones. One more thing before I go. As always, I want to mention Dice Tower News, and you can go see that. And now, Dice Tower News is now affiliated with Game Bugle, which is the same thing as Game Salute News. It just has a new name, GameBugle.com, so easier to find. And we're working hard always to have news. There's not a lot of news this time of year, but you can also find great reviews and strategy articles that we find all over the internet. You don't have to go hunt them down. We'll do that for you, and you can find them there. And then, of course, 3 days a week, Remy Gibson puts out short podcasts, 5 to 7 minutes on the game news, and you can find that at our website. So, all that's coming up. We are about to go into 2013. The Dice Tower, it's been a great year. We put out, I've been going through all the videos. We put out almost over 750 videos this year. Tons of content that I hope you enjoyed. And so now we're looking forward to the year 2013. What will you see this year? I got new ideas for podcasts and all sorts of things. But one of the things that we're going to be doing around January 10th, we're going to be launching a Kickstarter for the Dice Tower for the year 2013, and a way that hopefully if we get enough money, we can eliminate our advertisers from our podcasts and such, and just make it all about gaming content for you guys. And I have a whole bunch of cool things lined up for that. Lots of promos, new dice towers, new colors for our custom dice, and a lot of neat ideas for that. So that's coming up soon. I just want you guys to keep watching. Meanwhile, let's get to reviews and other videos. And, well, honestly, today I have one thing on mind. So if you have to forgive me, I need to get going.
Find all this and more at Dicetower.com. See you soon.
When there's so much entertainment in the world, I don't know why anyone would choose the Dice Tower.